Hey, can I get a drink? Where's the regular guy?
Hello friends, I'm the part-time bartender. I don't know where the regular guy is, so I'm jumping in here. This is the channel where we combine the best of the pro bar and the home bar to make easy cocktails at home. And so tonight we're making a margarita cocktail. Everybody loves a margarita. Everybody's got a favorite Mexican restaurant where they go and get a frozen one, or somebody who makes them at home. Boy, I have to say, I'm confessing to you, I messed it up the other night when making drinks for friends. It wasn't horrible. Everyone drank it. Some people loved it. Some people didn't. But you got to really appeal to everybody. And so I did make one simple mistake that a home bartender can make, and I'll share that with you in a minute. But first, let's talk about the margarita. So this is a cocktail that comes from the late 30s and 40s. It was really Californians traveling to Mexico that really kind of inspired the whole thing. Prior to all of that, there was a drink in Mexico, the Tequila Daisy, which had a lot of the same ingredients, but it didn't really kind of take off as a thing. According to David Wondrich in his great book, Imbibe, which is a history of cocktails, there are various stories out there of where it was invented and how it was invented. One of which is there was a Ziegfeld dancer from Los Angeles. I mean, take that image into your brain. But she would travel down to Mexico, and allegedly the only cocktail, the only alcohol she would drink is tequila. And so her name was Marjorie King. And so, you know, Marjorie King, they named the margarita after her, maybe. There was also a socialite in Texas, Margaret Semez, and she served it to some friends famously. There's all these theories about, you know, these Margarets that it was named after. Bottom line is, around this time, it sort of coalesced into a cocktail and the margarita was born. It really did not take off nationally until the 70s when they invented the frozen margarita machine. I personally don't care for a frozen margarita, but the machine is in the Smithsonian because it was such a big hit. The whole cocktail really seems to be tied to the growth of the West, though. I mean, as California grew, as Texas grew, as other Western states grew, with their strong influence of Mexico, you needed a cocktail to go with the new territories. I mean, these are new places as opposed to the old school East Coast. And so, you know, if you're sitting around on the veranda in Los Angeles, maybe a Manhattan or a martini doesn't really quite make sense, but certainly a margarita does. And that's where it all kind of came together. So let me walk you through what I'm using here. I'm using Blanco tequila. This is the 1800, which is a really good brand, I think. Some people use Raspado tequila to make it a little richer. And then there's the Curaçao for the orange element. Some people use triple sec. Some people use Cointreau. I think this is a really good item to use, the Pierre Ferrand dry Curaçao. Sometimes the triple sec gets a little kind of sweet and cloying. You know, Cointreau might be pricey for what it is and what you're doing with it. So I like using that. Agave is another relatively new innovation. There was a bar in San Francisco, Tommy's Bar, that switched out switched in the agave for sugar or honey and that kind of thing. It does add a little authenticity to it. And then of course, fresh lime juice. So here we go. I'm going to put it, here's my mixing vessel. And I am going to add in some jalapeno. I've cut up some jalapeno here. I'm muddling it in here, but I'm going to put one slice in the muddle and then one as a garnish in the drink itself. And then I have 2 ounces of the tequila, a ½ ounce of the Curaçao, and a ½ ounce of the agave, and then you finish it off with that 1 ounce of lime juice. Ice is important, so you have the ice in. You don't want any mishaps. And so I like to use these bell jars sometimes. I shake it up. And then so the other thing I want to do is to rim the glass. Obviously the salt is the classic. This is a chili lime mix, and Tajin is the Mexican brand that people maybe are familiar with. But it just adds another element to it. Any of this can be swapped out. You don't need to put the jalapeno in if you don't like it. You know, you don't need to, you can put salt, you can put nothing, you know, however you like to do it. I always say when you're making cocktails at home, one of the things that really makes a big difference between the home bar and the pro bar is the quality of your garnishing. The more you garnish it, the more people like it, the more they say, wow, you really made an effort. It's not that hard to do what I just did. So there you have it. So like I said, I did have a mishap, and I will take a sip and then tell you about my mishap. Boy, one slice is good. One slice of that jalapeno really sets it straight. I mean, it's a great drink. It really is. The fresh lime really makes a difference. It's very important to use fresh lime juice. The tension there between the tequila and the Curaçao, it's all really nice. You could even, you know, garnish it with an orange peel if you wanted, or a lemon peel if you had it. I mean, you know, that's, like I said, don't be wedded to one thing and the other. Use what you have, make it special. People will really enjoy it. And before I go, let me tell you how I messed up. So this is the confessional of the part-time bartender, which is, you know, I made it for 5 or 6 people, and some of them like to have a second round. And so the next thing you know, you've got 20 ounces of alcohol. And so I used my favorite ball jar to transport it. And I discovered when I put the ice in, there was not enough space inside the jar to get the proper dilution. And so the resulting mixture was a little strong and a little viscous, but it did not have the proper dilution to make it palatable, especially for the people in the group who don't quite drink as much. And so that's just something to watch out for. When you're making drinks and you watch these channels here, everybody's making one. But the problem is you're just making it for a handful of friends. And so you got to be careful of the vessel. Obviously, I could have easily corrected it home and split it up somehow and then shaken half of it, made it, and then done that someplace else. But I was at somebody else's house. They asked me to bring a drink. I'm sort of famous. I'm the part-time bartender. So it's just something to watch out for. When you're kind of on the fly like that, you might have a problem like that. But anyways, like I said, it's a delicious cocktail. I encourage everyone to make it for Cinco de Mayo and the spring and the summer. It's really a crowd pleaser, as you know. And there you have it. I'll be back next week with another cocktail. And in the meantime, please hit subscribe and like, and maybe that regular guy will show up one of these days. Thanks for coming. See you next week.